I'm Diana Pierce. Coming up on News 11 tonight, baseball's back in a big way at the Dome. We'll have a live report. And a miracle life-saving maneuver in Eden Prairie.
And I'm John Bachman. Also tonight, back to the streets for some of St. Paul's homeless. And the end of an era, the history-making, war-ending bombing of Nagasaki. Paul Majors has the night off. News 11 is next.
Your father was a legend in the old neighborhood. A look from him would freeze you kids in your tracks, but you miss him, don't you? So call him for... Sprint has extra discounts that'll let you shoot the breeze without worrying about the bill. And you know what? They spent $1 billion last year to make sure you can hear every word your dad has to say. And you know, with Sprint, you can almost hear him looking at you. Call Sprint. Find out about it.
Bet you can't lick a Gold Rush bar.
It's ice cream with chocolate chip. You know it's ice cream with nuts to crunch. Yeah, ice cream with caramel to chew.
Real ice cream.
You get your teeth into.
No.
You just can't lick a Gold Rush bar. 'Cause once that taste puts a bite on you, you gotta bite back. Yes, you do. You should do what I do. You just can't lick a Gold Rush bar.
Look for Gold Rush ice cream bars in your grocer's freezer.
Tropicana did it.
The taste is closer to the orange than ever before. A new, fresher taste that's closer to the orange. A taste that you'll adore. New, fresher Tropicana taste closer to the orange.
Now 100% pure Tropicana orange juice tastes fresher, even closer to the orange.
They couldn't.
They did.
New, fresher Tropicana taste closer to the orange.
We're Beatrice.
Now, from the action center of the Twin Cities, News 11 with Paul Majors, Diana Pierce, Tom Ryther on sports, and meteorologist Paul Douglas.
Good evening. Topping tonight's News 11. Back on the field for baseball and the Twins.
The players and the fans both came out in force tonight after a one-day, two-game walkout.
Tom Ryther is out at the Dome right now with more on baseball's return. Tom?
Well, Diana and John, really a good crowd tonight. 31,054 to watch the return to baseball after a brief absence. After 2 unexpected days off, really, Major League Baseball started up again today as a result of that quick settlement yesterday of that short 2-day strike. The Twins face the grim task of going up against a team they trail by 14 games in the standings. Good news, though, the Twins beat California 4-2, so they only trail now by 13. Start getting your tickets for the playoffs right now. More on that later. Jeff Passold leads a team report on baseball after the strike.
His third major league season at the Metrodome and all the other major league ballparks around the country. Baseball has returned, and this evening's Twins game was right on schedule. Beforehand, it was as if nothing had changed. Fans searching for autographs as the players prepared to return to work from the strike.
All I could do is play it by ear. That's all. All the guys could do was play it by ear, and that's what we did. And they came to an agreement, and thank God for that. Now, like I said, we can concentrate on playing baseball and try to catch up in the West.
Not making excuses for losing the ball games, but I didn't think we played with that we attitude the last 4 or 5 games. And I think it's human nature for young kids that all of a sudden their salary is going to stop and there's not going to be any baseball to start thinking about themselves a little bit, and it definitely affected us. I thought we played in the cloud, and fortunately I was able to have a team meeting today and tell everybody exactly what I thought of the way they played the last 4 or 5 days, and we're home with some big crowds, and it should be very exciting.
The fans' reaction to the 2-day walkout was a major concern of Twins management, and Alan Costantini has more on what the Twins did to get the fans back in the stands.
You guys playing a game, or you just coming to see us? Son, you guys brought your gloves, though.
Yeah, hit one to us. Let us catch it.
They could hardly believe it. The fans came to the Metrodome to see the Twins tonight, but they didn't expect to be greeted in person at the ticket window.
You don't want no lemonade? Hey, buy me one, man.
Yeah, I'm thirsty, too. I get thirsty as a big dog.
What do you call it when you have twins in uniform outside the Dome, passing out free lemonade, signing autographs, and talking to the fans? Well, you could call it the reselling of the Twins. There were pitchers Ron Davis and Frank Euphremia acting like your long-lost brothers, welcoming you to the family reunion. It was too much for one young fan from Brainerd to take in.
I was the last one who wanted to go on strike. I wanted to keep playing because I get bored easy and I like playing ball. And You know, I felt we owed it to the fans, and I'm just real glad they're all back. It's great.
The fans began lining up for tickets to the first post-strike game at 9:30 this morning. And do you think the unannounced personal appearances made an impression?
I just think they're always nice. They've always been congenial to my kids and to me, or, you know, anytime we've ever seen them. They're a good group of guys.
I loved it. It was pretty good. It's good to see that.
It shows they kind of care a little to come out while we're getting the tickets.
Did you talk to RD and Frank?
I talked to the people in front of us. He was pretty nice. He even took a picture with that one lady.
One reason the players came outside was to show the fans that if the front office could give away lemonade and free game tickets, they could make an extra effort too. Alan Costantini, News 11, Minneapolis.
That was a great idea. A throwback to the 1930s when Dizzy Dean used to go in the stands and sell refreshments when he wasn't pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, the Minnesota Vikings came up with their own news today to counter all this baseball talk. Their #1 draft choice linebacker Chris Dolman out of Pittsburgh signed his contract and then hopped on a chartered private jet to this area in time for today's 3 o'clock practice at Mankato. We will meet Chris Dolman, the newest Minnesota Viking, during our sports segment. And again, John and Diana, the Twins won at 4-2, and we will explore that story a little bit later on here at the Metrodome.
A lot of sports going on tonight. Thank you, Tom.
Good news.
Okay. Well, in other news tonight, a 3-hour rescue effort that many are calling a miracle. Police and rescue crews worked feverishly this afternoon to free a man from his crushed vehicle with a 50-ton earth mover still on top of the metal heap. The driver of the huge piece of machinery said he didn't see the car and rolled right onto it. Crews had to carefully cut the victim out, Gary Erickson, inch by inch, and despite the danger, one police officer climbed into the wreckage.
As we're trying to move the car away in bits and pieces, there were parts of him we couldn't see and couldn't reach. The steering wheel was down, pinning him in against the seat. He was kind of twisted and against where the door used to be and laying kind of out the side a bit.
After Erickson was finally pulled from the wreckage, he was taken to Fairview Southdale, where he's in satisfactory condition with just a broken arm. Arson is suspected in an overnight fire in Plato, a small town west of the Twin Cities. Flames gutted the Copper Still Bar, and an adjoining chiropractic clinic was also destroyed. It took firefighters 4 hours to contain the blaze. Fortunately, no one was injured, but this morning the owner of the bar was taken into custody on suspicion of arson.
Brooklyn Park police have tracked down 2 suspects tonight in the stabbing death of a 23-year-old man. The body of Robert Clark was discovered early this morning in Iris Park. He had been stabbed in the chest. 2 men were captured in Minneapolis tonight and are being held over for questioning. It was a day of detectives' testimony as a commission continues to investigate the conduct of Scott County Attorney Kathleen Morris. Detective Norm Pint returned to the witness stand today, responding to questions about the type of prosecutor Morris is and was to work with during the alleged sex abuse investigation.
He's a good, aggressive prosecutor. He isn't afraid to take on a case if it appears to be winnable.
Is she given from time to time to fits of anger?
Yes.
Prosecutors tried to use Pint's testimony to show Morris physically abused members of her staff. In other testimony, Detective Michael Bush conceded that he did not submit written reports after interviewing several of the alleged child victims. Opponents claim those interviews could have helped defendants. The hearings resume tomorrow.
A fight to keep a roof over the heads of the homeless is being waged in St. Paul. Today, a citizens committee handed petitions over to officials at City Hall calling for the council to provide shelter for the homeless. But Mayor Latimer says the wording of the petition is illegal. The problem stems from the closing of a shelter last week, and as Melissa Young reports tonight, some of those residents are still on the streets.
Last week, 35 people were forced out of their shelter in the Grand Hotel because the building is being torn down. Tonight, many of those people are still living on the streets.
Here and there, on the streets, that's all.
When you have children, you know, you don't have many choices.
Kay Bundy has moved back to her mother's for now. Besides 9-month-old Robert, she has a 9-year-old and another baby due in December. Angie Nichols and her daughter Tamara are still looking for a new place to live. Tonight she is checking into the hospital for treatment of a miscarriage that occurred after the PSR shelter closed.
My miscarriage is mostly caused from all my stress that I'd been under while I was trying to find an apartment and trying to deal with PSR closing down and stuff. And it cost me the life of one of my kids.
Women and families have had the toughest time facing the housing shortage. Some are being put up in hotels, but social workers say that is only a Band-Aid solution that doesn't provide critical support services.
It isn't good casework just to put someone in a motel
and leave them there, and then the next day they have to check out. There's nothing for them to fall back on. There's no place to go the next day.
The only consolation is that this is happening in August, before the cold hits. Melissa Young, News 11, St. Paul.
The PSR shelter is hoping to reopen on a limited basis tomorrow, but they're still looking for a permanent facility to provide emergency housing.
A duel of food gatherers in St. Paul made the city's food shelves out to be a big winner tonight. Employees at 2 Target stores, one in East St. Paul and one in Midway, led a food drive today, taking in hundreds of pounds worth of dry and canned goods. East St. Paul won the battle, so they'll be donating the groceries and a $500 check from the Target Corporation to the Dayton's Bluff food shelves. Midway's donations will go to the Midway food shelf.
Still to come tonight on News 11, another terrorist act with Americans as the target.
Also a different target of violence during the riots in South Africa.
And later on, our News 11 Extra, the bomb that was to end it all, World War II and Nagasaki. We'll have a special report. Stay with us.
Hey Sport, do we have goods for you at Sears' $97 Super Sports Sale. It's our lowest price of the year for all the gear that you see here. Save $62 to pedal, or $52 to pump. Save $62 to stroke, or press. Save $62 to cycle, or $22 to bike, or camp for $32 less. So run, don't walk for our lowest price of the year.
There's more for your life at Sears. Sometimes it's hard to believe you're in a Wix furniture store. The quality and style are astonishing at Wix low prices. Take these sleeper sofas with queen-size innerspring mattresses. You save $200 on this classic style. You save $300 on this contemporary style. Elegant sofas that open to comfortable innerspring queen-size beds, just $399.88. Take your choice during the sleeper sale now on at Wix. Unexpected quality, spectacular savings.
Wix, surprisingly Wix. At your Chrysler Plymouth store, since 85's right out the door, out we close. Everything goes.
Get a great deal now on Chrysler New Yorker. Over $1,900 less than Buick Electra before your clearance deal. Bring your title and trade now.
Everything goes. Everything goes.
Topping Datelines on News 11 tonight, another act of terrorism with Americans as the target. In Frankfurt, West Germany, a car filled with explosives blew up at the Rhein-Main U.S. Air Base, killing 2 Americans, an airman and a civilian woman. At least 20 others were injured. Officials are looking for members of a leftist Red Army faction that may have been responsible for the bombing. In South Africa, a day filled with some of the worst violence seen in that country. At least 16 people have been killed so far as rioting continued in the Durban area. Most of the trouble is being aimed at Indian merchants whose homes and businesses have been looted and burned. Most of the Indians fled the violence with only the clothes on their back, finding refuge at an area community center. And in Nicaragua, the announcement of freedom for 29 American peace activists and 18 journalists. Members of the group called Witness for Peace told their headquarters in Managua that they had been freed by an independent group of anti-communist Nicaraguans. Their boat was commandeered yesterday and the flotilla was held overnight. At the U.S. Embassy in that country, Americans protesting the president's policy made a banner saying, "Kidnapping your tax dollars at work."
If you are looking for a way to spend a few spare hours and possibly hundreds of dollars, look no further than the nearest mall. The new fall fashions are out in force, and our own Diane Rossi couldn't wait to get out and model a few of the finest. She's suited up in everything from the precise office look to the perfect party dress. And to top everything off, a $21,000 fur to bundle up in for the cold winter days to come. It looks good on you, Diane.
Yeah, but now just wait a second here. We're still midsummer, aren't we? I mean, officially, this is midsummer bound?
May I be excused?
Yes.
Dad, Mom?
Sure, son.
Let's not rush it, please. I feel a lump in my throat and a churning sensation in my stomach. I just got those big, bulky overcoats dry cleaned. I want to keep them up there on hangers.
A little bit longer.
Yes.
And summer's going to do some serious muscle flexing again tomorrow. 90 a shore bed along with some thunderstorms and a transfusion of fresh, clean Canadian air just in time for the weekend. A nice weekend on the way.
Sounds good.
I am a meteorologist by trade, as it turns out, and it took me a couple of years to figure out exactly why I call myself a meteorologist. Well, a couple of years ago, I finally figured it out. A meteor, as it turns out, is anything at all in the air. We study hydrometeors, clouds, igneous meteors, lightning, electrometeors, thunder. And luminous meteors include rainbows and halos. But sometimes meteorologists get a hankering to just talk about good old-fashioned generic meteors and what could be the most spectacular meteor shower in 4 or 5 years in Minnesota will be visible later tonight. In fact, it peaks over the weekend. It'll be visible in the eastern sky after midnight away from city lights. There may be as many as 50 or 60 meteors visible every hour. A good excuse to get the better half and take a peek in the eastern sky a little bit later on tonight. The reason it may be so good this year is because planet Earth is hurtling right through the core of the comet trail. And the result will be particles of dust and dirt bombarding the Earth, again at a rate maybe of 50 or 60 per hour. And it should be quite a sight to see. And the weather is going to cooperate tonight and again tomorrow night and especially Saturday night when the meteor shower will peak. Earlier today in the backyard, we had some hydrometeors, some clouds, and plenty of rain, a high of 90. A low of 70 this morning, 1/100th of an inch of rain down at the airport where no one lives, but as much as 3/4 of an inch of rain drenched the northern suburbs. Right now it's clear and 79, a south wind at 20 miles an hour and gusty. The dew point a reasonable 56, the humidity 45, and the pressure 2980 and on the rise. Now, since 4 o'clock this afternoon, the blob of moisture that hung over the Twin Cities all afternoon has continued to be shoved eastbound. Skies are mostly clear to our west. This is the cold front that is going to come barreling eastward across the Dakotas later tonight and invade 11 country tomorrow afternoon with a bang. Some of the thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon could be heavy to possibly even severe. The higher elevations of Idaho this morning, snow. An inch of slushy snow, temperatures in the low to mid-30s. Thankfully, it heated up nicely. Most of America was in flame this afternoon, running a high fever. Hundreds as close to us as the central and western Dakotas, and portions of southwestern Minnesota could see temperatures darn close to 100 tomorrow afternoon. That front will come through during the midday hours with thunder. Behind the front, winds will shift around to the northwest, and you will notice a big welcome drop in humidity and temperature by the weekend. Thunderstorms tomorrow, but plenty of sunshine for the weekend. We'll have all the weathery details coming up next.
If you're looking to save money, check your newspaper for the outstanding bargains at Levitt's Big Money Saving Annual August Sale. The sale you can't afford to miss.
TCMediaNow, let's all be there.
There's no better place to be part of the action. The sheer satisfaction, the smiles and the tears. The show comes alive. There's plenty of laughter. The good times are after are just waiting right here.
On TV 11, let's all be there. People come together in the moments that they share. On TV 11, let's all be there. TV 11, let's all be there. It must be TV 11, let's all be there. People come together in the moments that they share. On TV 11, let's all be there.
Twin Cities all together in the moments that we share.
On TV 11, let's all be there.
I am hopelessly dressed out here. I hope you don't mind. I took off my 5-piece suit here, and I think you too will want to dress conservatively tomorrow morning. Lightweight, light-colored cotton clothing will keep you most comfortable. You're going to feel the summery heat tomorrow. We want to check the computer first briefly and tell you that we're forecasting mostly clear skies for tonight, 65 to 70 for a low. And then for tomorrow, we're forecasting plenty of sunshine, but watch out for an increase in clouds during the afternoon hours. Tomorrow's high temperature generally around 90 degrees. We're forecasting a good chance of showers and thunderstorms, especially during the afternoon hours tomorrow. As you can see, tomorrow's forecast high is going to be anywhere from about 87 to 92 degrees, and a few of those storms tomorrow afternoon could be severe. Here's your 11 outlook for the next couple of days. Saturday, partly sunny, 78. Sunday, sunshine most of the day, showers possible late. And Monday, a better chance of showers with a high of 76 degrees. So basically some pretty good news. Some nice weather on the way. Sticky tomorrow. It's going to feel downright nice by the weekend. That'll do it from the backyard. John and Diana?
Alrighty. Paul, as you know, we're going to have the station golf-roo tomorrow. Most of the rounds then will get in.
Fingers and eyes crossed, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is very important to John.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Well, St. Paul couldn't have ordered up a better forecast for an evening of strolling, eating, and drinking. More than 2,000 people took part in the annual Sip and Stroll tonight, an event sponsored by the St. Paul Chamber of Commerce to promote nightlife in the city. Those who participated paid $10 in advance, giving them the chance to travel through 14 of St. Paul's restaurants and bars.
Still ahead tonight, the continuing drain of acid rain.
And adding nuclear technology to your dinner table. That and more when News 11 continues.
Mike Arizioni. Yo. The arms are all wrong. It's like this.
Dorothy, you skating champions, all you think about is form. But in hockey...
Right. The arc of the wrist.
All right.
Well, you may not know form, but you do know gasoline.
My car knows.
Why do more drivers rate Amoco Premium Lead-Free the highest quality gasoline? Your car knows.
How's this, Halo?
Get in there, Mikey.
Amoco, your car knows.
When you shop at Holiday Plus, you might be surprised at how much food your money can buy. Because Holiday Plus gives you the lowest possible prices on food every day. Up to 20% lower than many conventional food stores. Holiday Plus, where you can leave with a lot more food and a lot more money. Nobody sells food for less.
It's a problem that continues to take its toll across the nation and here in Minnesota. Acid rain. The Environmental Protection Agency recently released an updated map outlining problem areas around our country, and the findings show a marked difference from a study back in 1982, mainly that the trouble is growing. In Minnesota, the most affected areas are lakes in Cook, Lake, and St. Louis counties, totaling more than 34,500 acres worth of water. The new areas of endangerment in the state include Aiken, Cass, Crow Wing, Isanti, Itasca, Kennebec, and Pine counties.
Dangerous bacteria in our foods could be a thing of the past if the latest in technology really works. Tonight, our investigative reporter Steve Wilson continues his look at radiation as a way to preserve foods, a plan that's not without controversy.
Even the staunchest opponents of food irradiation agree it will not make your food radioactive. And many who support the idea, like this consultant who's helping the government push the concept, claim it poses no health or safety problems.
Can you tell me unconditionally, without question, in your view, that it's been proven safe?
Yes.
It has been proven safe?
Certainly.
Here in Washington, Health and Human Services Secretary Margaret Heckler says 30 years of research on the irradiation process have shown that the proposed levels of radiation are safe and nutritious. Now, that's a pretty strong statement, and a number of respected scientists around the country disagree with that.
They don't know that. They simply don't know that. When somebody says, I can assure you that this is safe, the person is incompetent in the field to know how to assess safety. He's dishonest because he's trying to make a sales pitch, or he's demented.
The biggest concern, what will a diet of irradiated fruits, vegetables, and meats do to us long term? Will it mean more cancer, genetic damage? Even the program's biggest cheerleader in Congress, Washington State's Sid Morrison, who says on the one hand it's unquestionably safe, cannot dispute this new technology could be trouble down the road.
I agree. I think only as time goes by will we know whether what you accumulate within your food chain is negative or not.
We'll be doing the testing as we eat the food.
We'll be doing the testing as we go along. And I think that's sort of the way we have always proceeded in America.
The research is incomplete, inconclusive, often conflicting. When grain is irradiated, it may promote the growth of organisms called aflatoxins. The EPA says that's 70 times more likely to cause cancer than the chemical EDB, which the government has banned. When certain fruits are zapped, texture and taste can be altered, and there's a fear vitamin content is reduced. And the idea of moving those radioactive rods around the countryside has raised concern that an accident could contaminate a populated area. But there are times when irradiation, an unknown safety risk, can replace a serious known health hazard. For instance, we know nitrites used to preserve pork can cause cancer, and nobody knows the long-term effect of eating irradiated pork.
I might say, look, I'll take my chances with the irradiated food rather than this known cancer producer. But I don't object to irradiation of food, provided one thing is preserved, honesty.
And how honest can it be if nobody will tell you which foods have been zapped and which have not, if you don't have a choice? A look at the government proposal that would lead to exactly that when we continue tomorrow night. Steve Wilson, News 11.
And the government is already pushing this project in a big way with plans to build 2 mobile food irradiators that can be driven into fields where foods are being harvested. Still to come, the Vikings' top draft pick is finally where he should be.
And the Twins are where they should be, too, back in action at the Dome. Tom Ryther has all the sports up next.
When you're hungry for the taste of home-cooked chicken, catch a chicken. Or open a can of delicious 100% natural Hormel chunk chicken. Catching your own can cause a few problems, while Hormel chicken comes in ready-to-savor, mouth-watering chunks. Of course, the choice is up to you. Hormel chunk chicken. Home-cooked taste without the home cooking.
5 for under $1. Truck driver. Breakfast fresh and hot. Egg McMuffin. Operator is calling you. Fresh scrambled eggs under $1 too. Mr. Postman, you like our hotcakes a lot. Or a sausage McMuffin with egg or not.
5 delicious breakfast entrees, each under $1.
It's a good time. 'Cause you work hard for your money. For the great taste of McDonald's.
Thousands of Twin Cityans are alive today because the doctors and nurses of 2 special hospitals have more experience in treating heart diseases than anyone else. Whether it's diagnosing, preventing, or treating heart problems, together, these 2 hospitals lead all the rest. Where do you find them? In the heart of the Twin Cities. United Hospital of St. Paul and Metropolitan Medical Center of Minneapolis, working together for you as Health One.
On August 31st, Plowwood, Minnesota will close its books for 1985. You betcha, Jared. We need to sell all of our fencing inventory. Yep, so we're slashing prices. Like post and rail, just 99 cents per linear foot. A 6-foot section of flatboard is just $19.84. Plowwood, Minnesota fencing comes completely assembled, ready to install. And the best part is Minnesota white cedar never needs painting or staining. Save as we clear out our fencing inventory. Hurry, sale ends August 31st. Direct from the factory to you.
Some of the city's top softball players were out in force pitching for a big win tonight. The Class A slow pitch softball championships were held at the Parade Stadium Diamonds this evening, with both men and women taking their turn at bat. The tournament started earlier this week for both of the final games. This year's champs, the Spirits for the women and the Minneapolis Merchants for the men.
Now let's go back to Tom Ryther, who's down at the Dome tonight with the Twins. Tom?
Yeah, hey, that softball looked pretty good. Now to baseball, some good news there. As we showed you earlier right here on News 11, a lot of things going on here tonight at the Metrodome. After the baseball strike, the 2-day layoff, the Twins facing the team that everybody is trying to catch in the American League West, the California Angels. Good news for the Twins, a crowd of just over 31,000, and the Twins winning it by a score of 4-2. Bert Blyleven, some fine pitching, some highlights in the game. Mike Stenhouse, a single to right. Now watch this by Reggie Jackson, normally known as a butcher with a ball glove, proves it right there. 2-run score, that made it 3-1. Minnesota Twins. Randy Bush steps up and hits what I call there's the run scoring right there, a puff ball to the canvas. Now that's what that ball does when it just kind of nestles up against the canvas. There it is. Now watch it. The canvas will curl, and then you'll see the ball bounce back. A puff ball. Stenhouse scores. That made it 4-1. Blyleven, 7 1/3 innings, 7 hits. He wins his 10th game against 12 defeats. And now let's go down to the field, and Jeff Passold.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. With me, one of the stars from tonight's Twins game, Kirby Puckett, 3 for 4 at the plate, scored one of the runs for the Twins. Hey, nice to have you back playing baseball, and obviously you're happy to be back.
Well, yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'm glad they can come to, a happy medium now. We can get back to concentrating on baseball now and try to catch up in our division.
What's the mood of the rest of the players? Were they glad to get it over with real quick?
Well, yeah, everybody's glad to get it over with. That way, neither side loses any money or, has any bad feelings or anything like that. And it was just good for us to come out and get a victory tonight and try to get a head start on these guys in the West.
I know that you guys had this strike on your mind quite a bit the last couple of games. It was affecting your play tonight. You looked like a different ball club.
Well, yes, Bert was pitching for us, and, it was a welcoming back for him. And, he said he wanted to pitch well tonight. He came out, he did a great job for us tonight, and we played good defense. And it was just an all-around team effort tonight, and we pulled it out.
All right, nice going, and good luck tomorrow night. Get another win, huh?
All right, we're going to go out and try.
Okay, let's go back up to Tom for the baseball scoreboard. Tom?
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Kirby. Okay, a lot of baseball tonight, as Jeff said. Kansas City winning 10-3 over Detroit. The second game is deadlocked in the sixth. Oakland and Seattle deadlocked in the early going. We have Chicago White Sox over Boston, and in the second game, Boston's winning that in the sixth inning. Milwaukee beating Texas. The second game, nothing doing in the third inning. And then we have the Yankees over Cleveland in the first game. The Yankees lead the second game in the sixth inning. Baltimore lost 2 games to Toronto tonight, 7-2 and 7-4. In the National League, Philadelphia over Pittsburgh this afternoon. The St. Louis Cardinals beat the Cubs. The Cardinals still trail Montreal. I should say the New York Mets by 1/2 game. The Mets beat Montreal 4-7. Houston 3-1 over San Diego in the fifth inning. Cincinnati leads Los Angeles in the early going out there. And in a game played this afternoon, Atlanta 2 and San Francisco 0. Big news from the Vikings today as well. The Vikings have come to terms with their #1 draft choice in this year's draft, linebacker Chris Dolman out of the University of Pittsburgh. He headed to the Twin Cities today via a chartered jet and was in Mankato for the 3 p.m. workout. Chris had been working out on his own in Pittsburgh. He looks in good shape. He has signed a 2-year deal. And after today's workout, Dolman and Coach Bud Grant had these comments about Chris being in Mankato.
It's a big relief. You know, I know where I'll be. You know, I can come in, get settled in, and really put down some roots. I'm going to be here for some time and concentrate on football.
Not sure how we're going to use him. I mean, you know, we want to see him. We want to do our evaluations. I mean, his college coaches have done them, the scouts have done them. We want to do our evaluations on him, see where he will fit into our scheme of things, what we think he can do. And we'll know that after he's practiced, you know, gone through a training camp.
The Vikings will play at Miami on Saturday, game 1 of the preseason. At Canterbury Downs today, the Daily Double, numbers 3 and 2. And there you see it, paying $66. The attendance, 10,724. Money bet today, almost $800,000. But the big story, there were 6 Pick 6 winners. They each won a little over $12,000 apiece. A couple of notes right now. Hockey star Darryl Sittler retired today after 15 seasons and 484 goals. And Doug Toole leads the PGA Golf Tournament at Denver, Colorado. He came in with a course record 64 today. Jack Nicklaus is only 2 shots behind. And the State American Legion Baseball Tournament begins tomorrow in both Richfield and Edina. And Steve Howe, the former L.A. Dodgers pitcher, the lefty, has a lot of stuff on that ball. He had great fastball, good breaking stuff. He will be here to work out with the Twins tomorrow. They're going to take another look at him, maybe another look at him over the weekend, and there's a very good chance that they will sign him over the weekend. And if he stays straight and away from those drug problems, he could really help this team. So that's pretty well it. The Twins winning it by a score of 4-2 over California. John and Diana, back to you.
And if we can knock the Angels off a couple more times, the season may not be over yet.
Hey, listen, I'm dusting my old pennant off.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom. Well, next up tonight, the bomb that changed our world forever.
We'll take a look at the devastation of Nagasaki and the attack that ended World War II on our News 11 Extra when we come back.
Is your family seeing its best? It's important to know. The iWorks makes it easy. This month, pay for your eye exam and test your whole family free.
It's all right here at the iWorks, the superstore of eyewear. From our 21-step eye exam that's so complete, we even take your blood pressure, to the service in just hours from our in-store labs, even for bifocals. The iWorks has it all.
The iWorks, looking your best and seeing your best at hard-to-beat prices.
Great news, more Toyota values on the way. A new shipment of America's #1 selling import cars and trucks will be arriving at your Toyota dealer shortly. Right now, he knows the exact models, colors, and options coming in, and you could put your name on one of them. You'll be driving your new Toyota home soon. Toyota value has always been worth waiting for. Now you don't have to. The Toyotas are coming, the Toyotas are coming. Come on in and see your dealer and make your deal today.
This name has always stood for quality. During the Craftsman Hardware Sale, it stands for some very special savings. This circular saw, pad sander, and drill are just $39.99 each. Save 50% on this 75-piece tool set. And save $90 on Sears' Best Craftsman garage door opener. With a name like Craftsman and savings like these, this is one sale you won't want to miss.
There's more for your life at Sears.
All this week, ceremonies around the world have been held to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the first atomic bomb. Recently, I and a News 11 crew had a chance to visit the second city that was bombed, Nagasaki. Tonight on our News 11 Extra, we'll take a look back at that event and how it affected the city. And this warning that parts of our report are very graphic. Even as the ground smoldered at her, prepared to deliver yet another new type bomb. The target, Nagasaki. The time, as the Nagasaki bomb was named, did what it was designed to do. 5 days later, Japan surrendered unconditionally. Ended on August 9th. Some 60,000 were killed by the blast, and the city itself was reduced to piles of stone and rubble by the fires that followed. In an instant, it was turned into a living hell. A hell reflected in the faces of the victims. For those who have survived, the memories of that moment will always be with them. Dr. Tatsuichiro Akizuki is one of those survivors.
I went outside and in the midst of the black smoke, yellow smoke, I could see people trudging along, and they seemed to be naked and kind of white colored and moving through the black smoke, and they were groaning and screaming, and they'd suffered terrible burns. But my strong impression at them was the white forms moving through the black smoke.
30 years ago, when Nagasaki was still rebuilding, St. Paul became her sister city. And just yards away from where the A-bomb exploded is St. Paul Road and the entrance to the A-bomb Museum. Hundreds of thousands of people come every year to the museum, most of them children. They are curious and questioning. They try to understand what happened here so long before they were born. They wander through the museum, looking at the proof of the devastation, trying to comprehend its scope. But it is not easy for these young minds to grasp. For those who were born, who lived through it, the images will never fade.
The people who saw with their own eyes the terrible destruction that took place in Nagasaki are gradually disappearing, and people who can speak about that experience are becoming fewer and fewer. The atomic bomb that was dropped on Nagasaki was a 2.2 kiloton atomic bomb, which is like a toy compared to the bombs that exist today. It's my desire now to let all the people of the world know about the horror and about the reality of what happened, the atrocity of what happened in this area 40 years ago.
Today, this black tower stands in Nagasaki's Peace Park to mark the center of the explosion. Thousands of people died within miles of the spot when the bomb went off. But their deaths saved millions of American and Japanese lives by bringing an end to World War II. And although there seems to be some controversy over whether there was any need to use 2 atom bombs on Japan, Americans polled shortly after the bombings endorsed the use of these weapons by an 85% margin. That'll do it for us. Good night.
Good night.
The television camera, a window to the world, bringing you closer to style and excitement, beauty and grace, and the lives of others like nothing else can. And News 11 brings you those pictures like no one else. Honored by the National Press Photographers Association for the best television news photography in the nation. Thank you, 11 Country. That's a good reflection on you.
big city executive dressing for success, eh, son?
Not too successful with that ring around the collar, dear. Listen to your mother. Stains like this need whisk.
Mom, I use the towel.
No, but dear, whisk works better. See? No more ring around the collar.
Thanks, Mom.
And use whisk!
Trust Whisk, America's favorite liquid for 25 years.